Good morning again, and it is really a pleasure to welcome among us Harry Menon. As you know, he's the CEO of BigBasket. I don't think I need to introduce Harry, or I need to introduce BigBasket. We all know that is a very successful, if not the most successful e-commerce company in India, growing at a rate of 20 to 30% year in, year out, in line maybe with the Indian market, but nevertheless, this is quite an impressive performance. And I think what is really interesting to discuss with Harry, given the fact that we have this e-commerce development in India, is to try to understand what is the real impact of the development of e-commerce. Of course, Harry will tell us about economic performance, about the business impact. But we see today that when you talk about e-commerce, it is like when you talk about fintech. You just don't talk about technology or business. You talk about something which has a tremendous impact on social life, which has a tremendous impact on the way societies, social expectations evolve. It has a tremendous impact on stimulating technology innovation, in stimulating the creation of new startups. And so I would like you, Harry, to tell us about that, how you look at it. Again, of course, the business aspect, but beyond that, the global transformative aspect of e-commerce.
Sure, thanks. Thank you, Claude. Let me just take a shot at the question. I really think that there are a couple of things that that has evolved. This is beyond just business and business growth and stuff. And I want to start with the first thing that's really evolved thanks to the scale of e-commerce, and that's the entire network of logistics and supply chain infrastructure that has got built out in the country today, and that's happened largely, primarily to the growth that e-commerce has seen. You're now seeing warehousing, you're now seeing logistics, transportation solutions, you're now seeing last mile solutions which are absolutely innovative, new. You're seeing a lot of technology that goes into this whole aspect of warehousing, and you're really seeing scale there. And the scale has come thanks to e-commerce actually really exploding in the country. That's one. The second, I think, is really the digital infrastructure itself, which is really got built around e-commerce and has essentially scaled. And when I say digital infrastructure, I really mean things like payments, for example. Payments has evolved so much. I still go back to my first startup that I did in 1999. It was a startup which is called FabMart. And you won't believe it, at that point in time, we were doing an internet online commerce business, and there wasn't a single payment gateway in the country. So we were actually asking for customers to give us their card details on phone, and somebody used to sit on the other side and actually really authorize, authenticate those payments. Highly risky, very, very dangerous and worrisome. And from then, which is 1999, to what we see today, is a completely evolved payment system that you see, which is completely secure, completely online, various types of payment systems that have come and evolved. So the digital infrastructure has evolved well, with payments being one. Needless to say, much faster internet speeds, broadband, etc. has really helped in that sense. Number three, and this is important, and I think we've seen a large job creation that has actually taken place, since the time e-commerce has exploded. And let's say job creation. I'm not as much talking about white-collar jobs which have been there. I'm really talking about how blue-collar jobs have really evolved. Since since e-commerce has come, and I'll talk about it maybe a little later too. But this is something that I have seen myself evolving so well, and it's become so large. It scales so much. Women employment, is so large. We see today bikers who are women who actually come home and deliver goods to you, and this is something that's evolved over a period of time. Impact on innovation, of course, thanks to a very vibrant startup ecosystem that's got built up. We've seen it fostering a lot of innovation in multiple sectors, be it payment services, be it logistics, customer service, supply chains, etc. There's so much of innovation that's happening there. Financial inclusiveness is something that I have seen happening. You've now got a large, lots of these fintechs which are there who are actually enabling credit, enabling lending, enabling people to become a little more, enabled as far as their ability to pay, and taking the entire business to smaller towns is really helping. And finally, this whole aspect of social inclusiveness, which is, there are two aspects to that as I see it. One is that it's opened up markets for small businesses. We have so much of commerce that's happening that is helping today small businesses, including a lot of artisans, including a lot of sculptors, including a lot of people who are sitting in small towns are able to now sell and get to customers a lot easier than what it used to be earlier, and that's one. And second is what I've already talked about is basically women empowerment. Is something that I have seen personally really scaling. One of the key areas in BigBasket that we really focus on is women employment, not just at white collar level, but at blue collar space, which means we encourage a lot of our warehouse staff, a lot of our delivery folks who come in. We try and see how we can maximize women, coming and working with us. So this is what I see, Claude. That's really helped, thanks to e-commerce really penetrating a lot.
Now, by 2026, the e-commerce business in India is expected to be at about $400 billion. What are the trends? If you look 5, 7, 10 years down the road, what are the trends? The technology, but the social expectation, consumer habits, everything. What are these kind of trends that you are already trying to take into account to shape the course of a company like BigBasket over, let's say, the next stage of expansion?
Sure. Well, I think a couple of things that we expect to happen going forward. And I'll come to consumer behavior soon, but I think one of the things that has really enabled all this to happen is basically growth in mobile commerce that we've really seen, right? At one point in time, 8 years ago, we used to see ratios between app usage versus desktop usage being 50-50. It's now pretty much 95-5. I don't think anybody goes to a desktop and really uses and does commerce. So it's completely moved to the mobile, to apps, and that's one significant movement, and that I see staying and going forward. Second is payment methods. Payment methods are really evolving. I think UPI has completely changed the world. Right? People don't carry cash anymore. It's all done through your phone. Payments are enabled there. We have new different payment types that have come that have helped more and more people to come into the system. For example, buy now, pay later, which is something, and that's thanks to secure systems that have been built. We have this happening, and it's happening pretty well. And we don't see any defaults. or any such thing happening there. So we'll see a lot of such stuff evolving. I see social commerce as an area which I think will start growing. It's a little small right now, and what is social commerce? It just integrates commerce to social media. So you're seeing a lot of transactions, you're seeing a lot of commerce now happening through Facebook, Instagram. It's still small, but I think going forward, that will be an area where we'll see reasonable amount of growth, because a lot of people are interacting with social commerce. I think buying habits are completely changing. Completely changing, and when I say that, it's thanks to this new, I don't know whether I should use the word animal, but thanks to this new animal that's come in, which is called quick commerce. Pretty much people are now not wanting to wait anymore, right? Pretty much people are not wanting to plan anymore. Pretty much people say, I come in the evening from work, and I know what I want to eat. I decide, and I get it delivered in 10 minutes. Be it ready food, or be it rice, be it pulses, or be it any other thing that you want to buy. I think it is completely changing. I myself was a big skeptic of this model when it came in a couple of years ago. That's more from a fact that whether it will work commercially or not, and that's what actually was worrying me. But I think I've completely changed my mind. We at BigBasket are now all the time focusing on how can I get my deliveries faster to customers. So we have 2-hour delivery, we have 15-minute delivery, we have 10-minute delivery for various things. And I think what's resulted in is, because what we sell is grocery, and grocery has always traditionally been a planned purchase, where people buy it in the beginning of the month, people buy it end of the week. But all that has gone through the roof. People don't plan anymore. People actually buy whenever they need it. So there is no pantry stocking that people do anymore, and this is a complete change and a new way of doing things. And this business, the whole quick commerce business, is here to stay. I think now companies, including BigBasket, BBNow, and all of them, have now proven that it's commercially viable and it works, and the business has scaled really fast. So that's one significant change in consumer behavior that I'm seeing. And finally, I think going forward, you'll see significant investments in the sector. I think, and that's only going to help it grow. So some of that I've kept away from technology, which I think I can cover at some point in terms of what I see future.
Let me at this stage check if there are any questions or comments about what we heard from Harry so far. Any question, comments here?
Hari, hi, we know each other. I'm Vishal Krishna.
Hi, Vishal.
Hi, long time. By the way, when you launched FabMart in 1999, I was your first customer. I bought a CD called Journey Greatest Hits, and it was delivered to me in 10 days. Okay, that's what you've done, and today you're a legend. So
And I think you were the first guy who wrote about us.
Yes, absolutely. That's also true. I want to ask you, you talked about many things, but we also have to talk about the explosion of brands in this country. That's something that you want to touch upon. All these new entrepreneurs who come up suddenly. 10 years ago, India didn't have so many brands. Now they talk about 100K brands in India. Right? That's something that BigBasket wants to cover. So
You're talking about brands?
brands,
Yes. Oh, Vishal, it's exploded, right? And that's why you see so many D2Cs, today coming in. And actually, I was just reading some time back, and I think most of the money that investors are today putting into DTC companies, which are actually building brands on their own. And these are all internet-only brands, internet-first brands, which you're seeing a lot of them. And I think most of them are also doing well. There are a couple of them who even hit the IPO, circle, and I think that's something that's going to keep growing. You'll see a lot more of them coming. Across food, non-food, multiple areas.
Here, on your right, gentlemen. Hi. How does manufacturing change in order to supply groceries in 10 minutes? Do you think, expiry changes, short runs, flexible manufacturing across the country, or is it just your understanding of back-end transformation?
I didn't get the question. So you're talking about manufacturing?
Yeah, so if you're looking at demand changes, is manufacturing completely evolving? How do you see the next 100 factories that can sort of deal with 10-minute commerce?
Yeah, it's evolving, because what's happening is all these factories, and if I may just use the the analogy of factory to a warehouse, right now, are all becoming smaller and coming closer to homes. Now you will see, and this whole concept of dark stores, right? This term was coined by Tesco 20 years ago, when actually Tesco used to sell out of their stores, and customers were in the stores. So these pickers who were going and picking stuff for online business were basically coming in the way of customer shopping. So they decided to have a little warehouse next to the store which will serve online businesses. They are becoming smaller and they are getting closer and closer to customers, and that's what's happening. And manufacturing will also start doing that, because they need to supply fast, so that today your turns are crazy that you see happening in these warehouses. So that's the change. Smaller warehouses closer to homes and larger number of them is what you'll see happening. Already happening. We used to have 25 warehouses in 30 cities 10 years ago. Then we had 60 warehouses, of 65 warehouses in the same number of cities. Today we have 400 warehouses in the same number of cities.
Yeah, here there's one question on your right. Mr. Min, you spoke about quick commerce and how it's evolved over time. We have also seen a lot of these quick commerce players venture into expanded categories like electronics, etc., which we never imagined to happen within 10-15 minutes. So do you see this trend panning out increasingly across the segment? Because somebody like BigBasket started their journey with grocery, but you also see players like yourself also having to venture into electronics and other things.
Absolutely. I was just having this conversation with Chroma, who's our sister company within the group, and we'll hopefully strike a deal soon and start carrying. What's going to happen to quick commerce is going to become multi-category. Quick commerce is going to become more a horizontal play than a vertical play, and that's what you're seeing across players. And this will expand to, imagine getting a refrigerator delivered in 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes may not be possible, it might be 20 minutes. And this is moved from getting delivered next day or in 2 days to 20 minutes. And it's going to now cover all categories very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Let me now continue and turn to the inescapable topic. How are disruptive technologies, and especially AI, come into the picture when you look at the way you operate now and the way you will be operating 3 years, 5 years from now? And not only AI, I mentioned AI, but of course.
AI, AR, VR, I think some of these things are going to, there's a lot of immersive technologies which are happening. I think if I just start with AI, I don't think we have a choice not to actually adopt and use AI. I think it's all over the place already. Early stages, and I think what companies are really doing is experimenting, with it, piloting with it, doing a few things, getting a feel of the benefits, that it's going to drive and derive, and that's what I always recommend and tell startups today, that pick up small pilots, and start doing stuff. But I think it's already starting to deliver, right? To us in a couple of areas, and there are a couple of other areas that we're experimenting with. One, content management is something that now, we're completely on using what AI delivers to us, right? And it delivers reasonably good output, and we're finding that we're able to get far higher quality content, with the same number of people that we have there. So that's one piece that we are seeing, benefits right away. The second very obvious piece is customer service, and that's something which is a very large piece in BigBasket. We have close to about 1,400 people who actually are just sitting there and talking to customers, all the time. It's only inbound, and basically just answering customer queries. And we've been able to manage huge amount of efficiencies by just the use of bots and other forms of AI as far as customer service is concerned. It's become more accurate, become more efficient. I know customers don't like speaking to bots, and that's hopefully going to change. I don't like speaking to a bot, but I think when they start becoming a little more friendlier, I think that element will also start changing. The other thing that we are experimenting with, as far as AI is concerned, is in multiple areas of supply chain. We are trying to see how to get, for example, inventory efficiencies using a lot of AI tools, and that's something that will save us a lot of money, and that's something that also doesn't hamper jobs, because all it's doing is making sure we are improving processes and understand some of our buying techniques a lot better. So there are multiple areas that we are dabbling with right now. We are seeing reasonable amount of benefits in almost all of them, and I think we need to scale the initiatives that we are doing. So to me, I think areas that AI will get into will be large, and I don't think anyone has a real choice to keep away from it. And I think companies will need to just adopt. All we're doing right now is piloting, doing small steps, baby steps right now, but this will scale and it will move up. There are a lot of applications around AR, VR also, which in BigBasket we don't do, but I keep reading a lot about them, and I think you'll see those technologies also coming in a big way, especially in areas relating to, for example, home design, in terms of, areas relating to physical retail. We will see a lot of that happening. So I think Claude, it's just going to explode from that perspective.
Apart from AI, what are the kind of new technology that you see coming into play in your domain?
Actually, there are lots. For example, our entire warehouse management processes, what it was 10 years ago when we started, because we are very, very physical in that sense, right? We are an inventory-led company, and we sell close to 50,000 products today, and we carry large amount of inventory, across. So we use our warehousing is reasonably automated to the extent that most of the work is done using technology, right? And so picking errors come down, and that helps us run. I'll give you one statistic, right? And this is benchmarked as to be best in the world globally, and that's what we call fill rate, and that's very critical in grocery. For example, grocery people order large number of items, right? You order 15 items, 20 items, and when you're delivering online, it is so important that your fill rate is high, which means if I order 20 items, I must get all the 20 items. And if I get even 2 items less, I'm forced to go to the physical store. And in which case, the whole purpose of shopping online is gone. And so today, thanks to technology and thanks to a lot of tech that we use, we run today at a 99.6% fill rate. And that problem is now behind us. And all of that has happened thanks to tech. It's just one example of stuff that we use beyond AI.
Any question on?
Hello. Yeah. Mr. Menon, I wanted to ask is how many jobs will it impact with AI? And with voice, you mentioned voice, right? Will people start charging a premium for human interactions? Because if you don't like speaking to a bot.
The second part, I don't have an answer to. I don't think people can start charging for it. But this is a tricky question. I don't have an answer actually. And right now, it's not taking away any jobs because consciously we've decided to do that. Right? There are areas like I talked about supply chain management. Right? All the benefits that AI will bring in supply chain management there won't be any job losses there because all it's doing is improving and making processes more efficient. But look at content. I probably need lesser number of people to generate the same quality and the same quantum of content that I need going forward. It's just I'm staying away from answering it. Right? There are two sides to it. There are a lot of people who say that it won't take away jobs it will only make jobs better and more efficient. But I think it will take away jobs, is the other way. And so we are just staying right now and not worrying too much about it. But I think there will be AI intervention that will lead to job losses. There will be AI intervention which won't. And we just need to live with it.
I tend to agree with you on that. And I think that one key problem might be that the people who will be losing jobs will not be the same people who will get new jobs or new activities because of AI. And so we will have a huge displacement of the working mass people. In fact, any other question before we move to? So let me go to something which is a little bit perplexing, but I think it is also trying to sketch the picture of tomorrow. When we look at the world today, if you look at e-commerce, of course, you think Amazon. Of course, you think Alibaba. There is no way on earth that you will have a European Alibaba or Amazon. So forget about it. So the only other place where we can see the equivalent of Alibaba or Amazon might possibly be India. Will this happen? If it were to happen, what is the time framework? And if it were to happen, what would it mean for the evolution? What would it require in terms of the evolution of the market and also of the players in this market?
Claude, actually my answer is that it's already happened, or it's already happening. I mean, let me not say happened, it's already happening. And the likes of Amazon is already here, so there is they're large and they've scaled. I think the critical and the most important thing that was required for companies like Amazon and Alibaba to come into India is essentially the ecosystem. Everything that I talked about in the earlier, which is the digital infrastructure, supply chains, etc., etc. I think from 2007, 2008 onwards, we started seeing a lot of that happening in India. And that's the reason the first company which I have a lot of respect for and which I think will be one of the companies that are headed towards becoming what they are is Flipkart. I think they came in 2006, 2007. That's the time. And I just told you an example in 1999, 2000 when I had set up my first e-commerce company and what the state of infrastructure and digital infrastructure was at that point in time. From 2007, 2008 onwards, it started changing, and that's why we saw companies like Flipkart really scaling at that point in time. So Flipkart is here, and I think it's a company that I think will reach the levels that we're talking about. Jio is becoming large and scaling, part of a very large conglomerate in India, which is Reliance. That's the other company that I think will start scaling. And these are primarily in the horizontal space. There are quite a few companies which are in the vertical space which is scaling. For example, Nykaa in beauty, BigBasket as far as groceries are concerned. Mobility, we saw huge scale, in both Ola, which at one point had become even bigger than Uber, but thanks to COVID, a lot of those things changed. So, Claude, my simple answer is I think it's already here and it's already happening, and I think we've got the ecosystem all set, all ready for us to accommodate large scale.
I understand. I get your point. But the question is, if you look at the US, you have really two big players. If you look at China, you have three big players. In India, you have BigBasket, you have Flipkart. Of course, you have Amazon, but I don't think Amazon has the same kind of market size that you or Flipkart have. But are we going to see the market evolve into 2, 3 giants in a way having a wherewithal to shape the market as Amazon or Alibaba or eBay have today?
Yeah, you will see 2 or 3 of them. Actually, Amazon is much larger because in grocery, we are probably bigger. But if you look at Amazon as a complete end-to-end horizontal player, it's I think between Flipkart and Amazon, there's they are both large, and now you'll see Jio coming in. So in the horizontal space, you will see largely, I think these 3 players. You'll have Tata with Tata New coming in now, which is new, young, and now will also hopefully scale. So you'll see probably these 4 players in the horizontal space. But you will see a lot of players in the vertical space, and this is something India is doing differently. Vishal was talking about D2Cs. You will see a lot of these brands which are coming and starting to scale quite a bit. And so in the vertical commerce piece, you will see players who are also very, very large and scaling, and which actually you've not seen much in countries like the US or China, where it's largely horizontal set of scale. You haven't seen huge successful verticals that have come and scaled. For example, in the beauty space, I don't think there's anything equivalent to Nykaa anywhere online.
But you mentioned before that you see, in terms of the evolution, that it will be the structure of the market will be more horizontal based rather than vertical based. Would that mean that because of this trend toward horizontal, then it will accelerate the emergence of what I would call big champions in a kind of unreachable position compared to potential competitors?
I would think so. Actually, you will have 3 or 4 players who will really start scaling and go to the next level, and that's what you'll see. You're right.
Thank you. Questions at this stage? Why don't we start here? Can we get a mic at the front table?
Hey, hi Hari. So my question is about predicting customer habits. Okay, so there are only certain dimensions that a grocery delivery platform can cater to, like a selection or delivery speed or price. Now, as my friend already said, like there is explosion of brand, and with AI, it's going to increase. Like there are a lot of support functions which are automated right now. A lot easier to launch a new brand, and the delivery speed is a function of economy, or let's say pocket, where it makes economical sense. In T2, T3, T4 cities, it will not make sense for a long time. And pricing is in anybody's control till economics makes sense. So, what's your mental model of predicting customer habits so that you have a, let's say, a right to win in that pocket compared to any other, let's say, platform which is doing same grocery deliveries, and with time it will commoditize a bit. Like all of these sectors will start commoditizing delivery speed, and all this will become stake on the table that you need to do this so that you become relevant with the customer. So how do you predict customer habits?
I think the important thing that you mentioned is, you're right. Speed will become hygiene, right? So and that's what I think you're saying. So you will need to be fast, otherwise you don't exist, right? But one of the things that most brands and most commerce players struggle with is this whole concept of value, right? And that's when you say pricing, when you say a lot of that, finally what are you trying to do? You're trying to deliver value to the customer. And if you define that well and get that right, I think you'll win the game. And that is what most people struggle with, right? They come in and they think value is just price, right? I don't think value is price, right? Pricing is a perception. You create a perception. It's up to 50% off. You'll go inside and find 2 products are at 50% off. I mean, these are things that customers have seen through now, and I don't think it adds to value. It's a combination of how trusted you are in terms of delivering on time, how trusted you are delivering the right products on the time, how trusted you are in delivering quality, and how trusted you are in delivering at the right price. I think it's a combination that creates value, and if you don't get that combination right, is when I find most people fail. I also find people fail when they think value is price and then go haywire. So the definition of value you need to be clear on what you're giving to your customer, and once you're clear on that, I think you'll succeed.
Next question. Yeah, please.
Hi, what are your thoughts on cybersecurity impact on the e-commerce? Because I think India is, very well digitized, but are we, equipped with the next generation cybersecurity, whether it is, product or policies or procedures?
Security, you said?
Cybersecurity, yeah.
So I think we've come a long way in making sure that we're starting to get more and more secure. Just one indicator, right? Look at the number of companies that you're reading about that's got hacked, right? 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you would see more of them, right? You're now seeing lesser and lesser companies who come in front saying, the company got hacked. You'll hear a few of them, but I think security has become a very, very critical part of your business, right? People are investing into it in terms of people. People are investing into it in terms of technology, and you've got to make sure that your whatever you do is secure. Finally, I think the policy that the government is bringing right now is going to help and go a long way. I think it's a little tough. It's a little. It can get a little harsh, and what you have to do to prevent yourself from the government coming after you is quite a lot. But I think it's a good start. I think and I'm sure that you will have some lapses, you will have some issues. But if you get to where the government is today wanting you to from a policy perspective, I think you're home. But I think the investments that are going right now into security is huge.
Hey, so we talk about Flipkart, Amazon, Jio, Tata Newell, but another thing which is also emerging or initiated by the government, that is called ONDC. So you just want to hear about viewpoint, because if you talk about the horizontal services and vertical, it's there, everywhere it's there. So how you are thinking about the ONDC and your viewpoint?
I just completely missed. I'll tell you why. Where I was very keen to talk about it is when I talked about small businesses benefiting from this whole e-commerce bit that it's talking about, artisans, all of them starting to benefit. I think ONDC is where it will make a huge difference, right? In terms of getting a lot of these small businesses which earlier didn't know what to do to get online. The only way to get online is to become a seller to a company. But really speaking, putting up products that you have yourself, putting your own catalog, largely up there, it's ONDC, and that's what's going to enable it. I think they need to get this whole act of a customer being able to get everything in one place, which means right now it's a little dispersed. And I think they're working on putting it all together, because you buy at one place, you pay somewhere else, you select a logistics partner, and I think it's all will start coming into place. But the big benefit will be for this huge, small trading community which is there in the country. You will see all of them getting enabled and going online. And that is inclusivity, and that's what will happen going forward. And I think ONDC will play a big role there.
Any last question?
Mr. Menon, you touched upon value creation.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
We don't hear you.
Hi, my name is Vidisha. Mr. Menon, you touched upon value creation. I wanted your inputs in terms of how do you see value creation happening in the context of multiple players existing in the market? For For example, like apart from competition, do you see synergies being created out of this? And at the end of it, how do you think a customer benefits from these existence of multiple players apart from a pure price competition, which it is now?
The customer is the one that benefits the most from competition, right? That's a given because the customer now has a choice to make between various service providers basis the value they provide to the customer. So I, as a customer, can now evaluate what do I get from player X, player Y, player Z, and make my choice. I could even choose to say that break it down to categories and say this category I'm happy to go with this player. This category I'm happy to go to this player. So I think the customer benefits the most from it. It makes it harder for players, but like I said earlier, if you have your value prop very clear and defined, I think you'll win. Synergies, I'm not too sure because if you're offering the same kind of services, the only synergy I see is to acquire the other company and become one, but that's not always easy.
Thank you. We are coming to the close of this session. Let me mention a few points. I think what you have mentioned, which is, I think, quite important to bear in mind, is the wider transformative impact that the development of e-commerce has with respect to the development of digital infrastructure, with respect to development of supply chain, job creation, innovation, spurring, etc. When you look at the evolution, I think the point you have made, and I think they are quite relevant in terms of things to look, to watch in the coming years, will be, again, how cell utilization will evolve, how fintech technology will evolve. You spoke about UPI impact, and we will see that expanding even more. And I think you mentioned something which is very important, this notion that we are evolving from e-commerce to quick commerce. And also, I take from your point, the evolution toward a more horizontal orientation in terms of e-commerce. What is interesting, what you said about AI, I think is, and I think you're right, there is no choice but to get into that. Also, at this stage, you need to see how the benefit to be derived from it will materialize. But quite clearly, in terms of efficiency, in terms of, as you mentioned, inventory efficiency, which means financial efficiency, this is one area where we can see already the impact. And then I take your point that India is already evolving toward, in a way, an evolution, is evolving toward a situation where, because of some of these trends, we will see the market, I would say some kind of consolidation of the market toward a handful of big champions in these markets. So I would like to stop at that, and I would like to ask you to join me in thanking very much Harry for his insight. Thank you so much.